Since Caitlin Clark has entered the league, the prevailing conversation around the WNBA has been drawing power.
Angel Reese once boldly claimed that people watch women's basketball because of her. It was a confident statement, but when she returned to LSU as a member of the Chicago Sky, the response in Baton Rouge was.
There's one thing that Angel Reese is not. Angel Reese is not a draw. If you haven't believed me before, this weekend further proved that point, because the Bayou Barbie was officially rejected in the Bayou. Angel Reese was rejected at home.
But note that 13,000-seat arena in Baton Rouge was barely half full, with just 6,300 fans showing up, and that's being generous. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark had fans dropping thousands on tickets, and her preseason game sold out in a flash. The contrast brutal. We've got the photos Reese probably wishes didn't exist. Empty aisles, $15 tickets left untouched, free tickets handed out, and a whole lot of awkward silence. Remember when she said she was bringing eyes to the game? Well, apparently, those eyes were looking elsewhere. If you ride with Caitlin, comment CC is the needle down below. Let's go.
How embarrassing! Now, you're not going to hear this from the mainstream media, who continues to pretend that the Bayou Barbie is beloved. You're not going to hear this from the media, who continues to pretend that Angel Reese is a huge star.
Here's a refined and dramatic version that keeps the tone engaging while improving readability. So let's unpack why this LSU homecoming might have hurt more than one of Reese's trademark missed layups. And no, this wasn't just another game. It was supposed to be her moment. Her triumphant return to the campus that made her a star. The same place where she once danced on national TV, championship trophy in hand. Where fans screamed her name like she was LSU's own Beyoncé. This was meant to be her grand entrance, walking back in as the hometown hero.
The Chicago Sky go into LSU, the home court of Angel Reese. Man, it's going to be lit. It's going to be lit.
Instead, it felt like a ghost town with a scoreboard. Photos from that night are all over social media, and let's just say, they're not doing Reese any favors. Massive sections of the arena sat in silence, untouched by a single fan. Entire rows empty. Cavernous gaps of cold, plastic seats. The upper bowl never even opened because they couldn't fill the lower one. For someone who says she's revolutionizing the game, the energy was less. WNBA star returns to roaring applause and more forgotten open mic night.
Nobody showed up to this sucker. Nobody. Let me just blow this. Look at that. I noticed it right off the bat. Look, number one, look at all the purple seats down here in this lower bowl section. And then the entire top bowl, forget about it. Forget about it.
And here's the most hilarious part: tickets were basically free. Heavily discounted, some even given away. Most seats averaged just $15. That's less than parking at an NBA game. Cheaper than a movie and popcorn. And still, fans didn't bite. You could have thrown in a coupon and a selfie, and those seats would have stayed cold. The woman who claims she's the reason people care about women's basketball couldn't even draw half a crowd at her own alma mater. Let that sink in.
Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese are not the same. Both had their homecoming celebrations this weekend. One of them sold out in 27 minutes. The other one couldn't give away free tickets.
Let's go full math nerd for a second to hit 50% capacity in that arena. They needed at least 6,670 fans. Angel didn't even crack that. She missed the halfway mark by about 300 people. That's not a near miss, that's a full-on whiff. And when you talk as much as she does about changing the game, pulling less than a list concert crowd, yeah, that's not the flex she thinks it is.
In case you were wondering, I did do the math. How many seats were actually left last night? Over 6,800. In a 13,000 capacity arena, there was over 6,800 seats still available. And some people were saying, by the way, that literally there were some $15 tickets out there.
Even the broadcast knew something was off. Every camera angle was tighter than one of Reese's TikToks. But unfortunately for Angels, social media exists. And fans didn't hold back from showing the unfiltered reality. An arena echoing with awkward silence and seats as empty as her claims of stardom.
Get all those empty seats, folks. That is crazy as hell. I mean, empty, all that. Never mind all this. They could have put black tarps over it. Look at that. Look at that. Look, the WNBA still got problems. They got problems over and beyond one player. I don't know what they do about it.
You might be thinking, okay, it's just one game, so what? But here's where it gets hilarious. Angel's been talking for months about how she's the reason women's basketball is blowing up, how she's bringing in new fans. But numbers don't lie. Empty arenas don't lie. Silence doesn't lie. She can post all the Instagram reels. She wants 6,300 fans at a 13,000-seat building is all the fact check we need.
Brazilians sent their national team to Baton Rouge to open the WNBA preseason against the Chicago Bravado. The event was marketed as a homecoming for Angel Reese. The Bayou Barbie returns to the Bayou to be worshipped by her millions and millions of adoring fans.
This was supposed to be a full-circle moment, a hero's welcome. Instead, it turned into a PR disaster wrapped in a participation trophy. The very place where Angel Reese built her brand didn't even bother to show up. Her so-called rivalry fan base clearly had better things to do. And if Angel Reese can't pull a crowd at LSU, where can she? Now, let's talk about the player who is bringing fans to the game, Caitlin Clark. While Reese was playing to crickets and tight camera pans, Clark was out here selling out entire arenas. Her preseason game in Iowa wasn't just full, it was electric. Every seat filled. Every fan on their feet. Scalpers could have made rent off those tickets. The demand? Insane. The energy? Unmatched. Caitlin doesn't just draw crowds, she creates moments.
Finding affordable tickets for the Indiana Fever preseason game against Brazil at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Seats at the arena for the May 4th matchup between the Indiana Fever and Brazil were first offered to season ticket holders and a few top donors. Didn't take long for them to be gone.
And here's where things really take a hilarious, popcorn-worthy turn. When tickets for Caitlin Clark's preseason game at Carver Hawkeye Arena dropped, they didn't trickle out over a few days. They didn't crawl their way to sold-out status in a few hours. Nope, every single seat was snatched up in 27 minutes flat. Less than half an hour. That's quicker than it takes to order pizza and regret your topping choices. People were refreshing their screens like they were hunting Beyoncé tickets. And we're talking about a preseason game here. That kind of demand doesn't just say star power, it shouts it with confetti cannons. The contrast between these two. It couldn't be louder. Angel's big return felt like a retirement ceremony no one RSVP'd to. Clark's preseason outing felt like a national holiday. One rookie is struggling to fill a room in her own backyard. The other's being treated like a rock star wherever she goes. People are fighting to see Caitlin play. They're rearranging vacations, buying flights. This isn't hype. This is real stardom.
The reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize.
Caitlin Clark has single-handedly turned preseason WNBA games into must-watch TV. Meanwhile, Angel can't even get LSU to care for one night. Sure, you could make excuses, timing, marketing, weather, whatever. But let's be honest, if she truly had that kind of pull, fans would have shown up. The fact that they didn't, that speaks louder than any press conference ever could.
Crowd was praising their Bayou Barbie. The chants of Angel Reese could be heard all the way in the third row. Problem is, I wouldn't exactly call it a crowd. Even calling it a small gathering might be inappropriate. Perhaps a more suitable description would be a family reunion.
And it's not just this one game, this is a trend everywhere. Wherever Clark goes, ticket prices skyrocket, jerseys fly off shelves, and social media engagement explodes. She's not just changing how we watch women's basketball, she's redefining who watches it. Angel Reese can talk all she wants, but while she's talking, Caitlin Clark is out here delivering. Now, let's really wrap our heads around this. Fans are dropping hundreds, no, scratch that, thousands of dollars on resale sites just to catch Caitlin Clark in action. And we're not talking about playoff games or even games that count. These are glorified scrimmages, the basketball equivalent of a sound check. And still, people are reaching deep into their wallets like it's their civic duty just to witness her live. Who does that for preseason games? Oh, right, superstars, game changers, icons in the making. Caitlin Clark.
And here we have today, basically clapping back at all of that and proving that they know that they are the moment, they are the Showtime team, they are the biggest team currently in the WNBA. This kind of stuff is not only good for the Indiana Fever, it's good for the entire WNBA.
Meanwhile, on the opposite end of the hype spectrum, Angel Reese's preseason homecoming was practically a Groupon event. Tickets were going for $15, and even that seemed too steep for most. You could have brought a date and bought snacks for less than the cost of a single Fever resale ticket, and still, fans were like, hey, maybe next time. Imagine offering the basketball version of dollar store deals and still watching the crowd skip town. Things get even wilder when you realize opposing teams are now upgrading their arenas just to host Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. That's right, they're moving games to bigger venues because their regular ones can't keep up with the Clark effect. That's not normal. That's not hype. That's a traveling economic boom wrapped in a pair of sneakers. Every time Clark hits a new city, local vendors smile, and team accountants throw high fives. She's not just a player, she's a stimulus package.